If you love a punt and you're looking for some of the best deals in Australia that you can't find anywhere else, inbox me for details or hit that link in the comments section. The Locker Room is proudly brought to you by William Hill. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm here with the gorgeous Georgie Rose. What's going on, brother?
Not a lot, man. Not a lot. Enjoying the Friday.
Man, the game lost a character when you retired. How have you been since retirement, brother?
I've been busy.
Yep.
I've been enjoying it though. There's a lot of aspects of retirement that I like. You know, I still follow the game a lot, but man, it's been good. It was a good time for me.
And so, what kind of, I guess, pushed that decision? You know, when you were sitting down, you're going, because you're 33, and you know you never really had a bad run of injuries or anything like that. You know, some guys are just hanging on by a thread, and some guys get pretty lucky, and you were pretty lucky like that. So, what was the kind of motivator?
Oh well, look, it's something I've been preparing for a while. Like I knew that. You know, a lot of guys retire around 28, 29, 30. So coming into them years, I sort of wanted to prepare myself for it. You know, I read out a plan of what I need, what I want to do. Started making contacts and stuff like that. And I almost retired the year before. It wasn't until I ended up going down to the Dragons and meeting with Paul McGregor and, you know, seeing him as a bloke and you know got along with him, liked the way that he was trying to turn the club towards, and decided to have another year. And I knew that it was still probably going to be the last one for me. But the thing that sort of tipped it over, I had my first son. It was like around 4 or something, and when that came about, within weeks I knew that this was going to be my last season. I just thought my body's fine. You know, I've been pretty lucky. If I push out another season or two, anything can happen. And if I put myself in a position where I wasn't able to live a normal, healthy life and run around with my boy, you know, it just wouldn't be worth it. There was nothing more that I wanted to achieve in the game. You know, I was very lucky with my years at Manly, being part of such a great club. I managed to achieve a lot while I was there. So, you know, it was just the right time for me. I was prepared for life after footy. I had job opportunities, and everything was sort of in place. So I said, you know, I just committed to it, and I'm glad I did.
Because those first few years for your kid as well, they're so crucial. And you know, you're playing footy, you're going away every weekend, and then you're tired when you get home. Whereas now you can genuinely spend quality time with your kid at such a young age. Yeah,
and you know, the thing for me is, I don't know how players get through pre-season and get through seasons with kids. Like, you know, if you want to play a good role in the upbringing of the kid and everything that comes with it, you know, the sleepless nights and all of that. Mate, I don't know how I'd turn up for training after a night of him being sick and up all night, you know, and then having to get out there and run laps. I would have been even further back at the back.
Mate, I'm not looking forward to it, I just want to get like so rich that I just don't have to like work for 3 or 4 years or something, just be lazy.
Yeah, well, that'd be ideal, wouldn't it?
Just be able to, like, literally your whole job is to take care of the kid. That's all your job is.
Well, everyone thinks that you become a millionaire from playing footy anyway.
Oh, so. You're a millionaire. You're a millionaire. You played first grade. You automatically get $1 million when you play one NRL game.
Exactly.
It's not like you're on peanuts when you play your first NRL game. So take us back to young, gorgeous George. You know, where'd you come from? Were you always a rugby league player? Were you always, you know, because you always just have this natural gift for footy when you watch you play. You know, there's athletes and there's footy players. You know, you've got your Andrew Johns. He's a footy player. He just understands the game. And similar to yourself, you're just a footy player. Was that something that come natural for you as a youngster, or it kind of grew into it?
Look, I've always loved footy. I started playing when I was 4. I'm originally from Walgett, northwest New South Wales, and started playing rugby league out there. Always loved it. I played all sports, but rugby league was always my favourite. And just coming through, like it came sort of natural to me. Training was never really a strong point. Not that we had to do it out in the bush, in bush footy. You know, it's turn up, kick tennis, touch footy, that sort of stuff. Stretch down and go home. So coming down here was a huge shock to the system. What you have to do to be a professional player, but I still found a way to sort of fit into the system, and I think Manly in particular, the relationship that I had with Des Hasler and what he wanted from me as a player, and what I wanted to do as a player, it sort of gelled so well. So that's just been been my career.
And so, as a kid growing up, did you make all the rep sides? Because you played at Bathurst.
Yeah. So I moved from Walgett. We moved to Narrabri and then onto Bathurst. And during that time, I never made New South Wales sides or anything like that. I made the local group sides. I was a decent player in the local competition. There were always better players that sort of came and went. Over the age groups, them guys that hit puberty before everyone else, and then suddenly like this, and they got a beard, and I don't think I had hair under my arms at that time, and so everyone was sort of scared of them blokes at that period. But I always went pretty well at footy. I think nearly every year through my junior years we played in a grand final. So and I used to score tries back then.
Really?
Yeah.
Far out.
I used to score tries. That was my thing. I loved scoring tries. So for me to come down here and then as for my NRL career, I scored 10 tries over a 12-year career.
So you 2 nudie runs.
Yeah. There was a few more. There was one year I scored 6 tries.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there's a lot of.
Did you commit
runs.
to the nudie run?
A few times. Yeah. A couple of times it was just a prawn cutlet. But it's people weren't real excited to see me do the nudie run, but it was.
What was the best nudie run you've done? Where it was a genuine nudie run that was just embraced by the teammates.
Brookvale Oval.
Yep.
Can't remember what year it was. We were sitting in the southern stand, and I'd had enough. It'd been a big couple of days and that, and I just snuck off down the back and got rid of the gear, went and sat on the bench, and I was listening to the boys and heard someone goes, where's Rosie? And then someone's pointing across, Rosie, get on the field. So I took off out there and they're saying, have a hit up, make a tackle, jumping down, going around, going mad.
You're nude in this. You
nude the whole time. And had my undies still in my hand and ended up just tossing them up on the goalpost. So they were just sitting on the crossbar. I don't know who had to get them off because I'd been wearing them for 2 days. So they weren't the best. But yeah. So
How was your form? Do you reckon you could have played a grand final?
It was probably my best performance on Brookvale after that one. Yeah.
No drop balls, no missed tackles.
Yeah, there were 2 drop balls. But,
2 drop balls. That's a good one. Okay. So when was the decision for you? You were a good player, but you would have to make New South Wales and Australia to really say to yourself as a kid growing up, like if you're making New South Wales and Australia, the Australian side, you're going, okay, there's a chance here I could slowly go into an NRL system. Whereas if you're only making local sides, there's still that what if kind of situation for yourself. When was the time when you knew you could make that transition into legitimate first grade? Yeah,
it's funny. Like I go around to a lot of schools now, obviously with work and even during when I was playing, and you speak to a lot of young boys and they're like, I want to play in the NRL when I grow up. But when I was in school, like I loved playing footy. I thought I'd be a Bathurst Panther or Bathurst Penguin for life. I'd always play for them because I did. I genuinely love footy, but I wanted to finish high school. I wanted to go on to uni, and that was sort of my goal because I went all right at school, and I used to put in a lot of work at school, so it was my focus. And then when I hit year 12, I was playing pretty good footy. There was a couple of boys there in town that were going well as well as me, but Penrith Panthers came down, and three of us got picked up got asked if we wanted to go down and play SG ball in Sydney, and I was getting to the point where I was about to choose my uni selections and stuff like that, and so it all fitted in. I just thought, all right, I'll do it. I'll start uni in Sydney, and that'll be it. Went down, and it was a real culture shock. Obviously the training 4 days a week, lifting weights and stuff like that. I'd never lifted a weight the first year I went down. I put on 20 kilos.
Oh, really? Because you're naturally so big.
Like I'd had the frame, but I'd never lifted a weight. But even when I went down there, I still didn't think that it was going to be a career for me. I just thought it was cool that I get to play SG ball for them.
And go to Sydney Uni as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was UWS at the time.
Okay.
A year and a half into it, I ended up deferring because
too much.
Footy was going all right. I wanted to work and get a bit more money and that. And I don't think I was ready. I probably needed a year off before I went to uni the first time. So from there, I was at Penrith for 3 years, went through the grades, SG Ball, Jersey Flag at the time, and then reserve grade. We made the grand final in reserve grade and got beat that year, but I ended up signing with the Roosters from there. Came to the Roosters. First time I did a full-time pre-season.
Okay, so you got a full-time squad, yep.
Oh, yeah, it was a shock coming to the Roosters. That was when they were known as the hardest trainers in the comp and the fittest team in the comp. And so
2002-ish?
Yeah, 2004, I think.
Okay, 2004.
It was just after they'd won their premierships and they were still this gun team, all superstars in the team. So even then, I still thought I was just part of a squad. You know, them guys who I watched on TV were the guys who were NRL players, and I ended up making my debut in 2004, and then wasn't until I actually played the game that I realised, you know, this could be something serious for me. And then, you know, 2006 I signed at Manly, and that's where I was guaranteed a spot in the 17 every week, and from there it just sort of flourished. But I never really believed that I was going to be part of something until, you know, I actually got to be in it, because, you know, I'd just always been a spectator. We used to go to footy every weekend. You know, I'd play and then we'd go to all the other games. You know how you used to get your free pass when you were playing in the junior reps and that.
Oh, really? So
we'd go around to every game that was on that weekend, me and my brother. So we'd go to Leichhardt over, we'd go to the football stadium, we'd come out here to Cronulla, we'd sort of go everywhere, wherever there was a game. We just love footy, so yeah, that was us.
And so, you know, those first years, do you have any funny memories of the shock? Maybe the first time you did full-time training, any funny memories of the shock? Man.
Ricky Stewart, he was the head coach at
Roosters.
Worst
Have a head coach.
I've had nightmares. I reckon it took me 10 years to get over that experience. Then, like I used to have nightmares just seeing Stan Sticky just sitting there spitting. You know how he does his little spits like, George, what the fuck are you doing? Get up the front. All right, we're going again. And Ronnie Palmer's voice. All right, boys. In 5, 4, 3.
Yeah, the kid.
Oh man, and it was torture.
Yeah.
But you know, I loved it. You know, at the same time, I loved it. I learned a lot. By doing that, and learned a lot about myself to be able to get through that. Like, that's the hardest part of footy is turning 100%. Up and pushing your body to the limit every day. And then you get the rewards. You get to play footy on the back of it. But those years I spent there, I got to be around some great players, learn a lot as well.
Were you a part of the squad that Ricky Stewart woke up and said, boys, go have a drink? And then woke us up at 1 a.m, made you do fitness?
No, I wasn't. I think that was a year before.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, how sneaky is that? You can't do that, eh? Enjoy yourselves, boys. Have a drink. And then just flogged them. But you know, I saw a lot of guys. Like, it was also a time when, you know, guys were partying quite well, and you know, I remember, like, it's sort of a general rule in rugby league. If you've gone and made the mistake of going out the night before training, you've got to lead everything at training the next day. And I remember Michael Crocker was one of the most impressive blokes I'd seen. He'd be running along and spewing his guts up and still just run through it. You know, I'm the type of person, if I'm ever in that state where I'm spewing, I'm down on all fours, and it's like, help me, I'm dying. You know, I'm weak as piss at that stage. But Michael Crocker, he just used to just burn through the training, and he'd spew and he'd just keep going. So I wish I had that in me, but I'm not.
So he was just an animal.
He was just an animal. He was a great trainer, great bloke too.
Yeah, far out. That's crazy. Just spewing and running.
I don't know how. I'm obviously a very weak individual compared to him.
Or maybe he's just crazy. He's a crazy person.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you're normal and he's a crazy person.
Well, I'll live by that. I'll take that.
So your debut then, you know, how did that come about? Was that a shock to you? Because obviously you didn't even think that you were going to make NRL when you were part of the whole system.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, I'd been playing really good in reserve grade here. We at the Roosters we had a really good reserve grade side as well. I remember Grant Ravelli put me over for a few tries in the early rounds, and I ended up sitting down with Ricky Stewart the week before a week and a half before I made my debut, and he just sort of said, you're going great, you're really close, and if an opportunity comes up, there's a good chance that you'll be in there, but you've got to keep performing. And I went out that week and I actually played, one of the best games I had played to date. And it just so happened, I think Jason Kalis got either injured or suspended for 1 week.
Killing a bloke.
And so I got my chance. He come and called me up and said, "You're going to play first grade this week."
What was that like?
Whoa! I could not believe it. I think it sort of hit my family and that a lot more than it hit me, because I called my mum, and I'm very close with my family, and mum was in tears and she was ringing everyone, and I think I ended up having something like 62 people turn up for my debut game.
62?
That's how many tickets I had to get from
mate, you
Brian
couldn't get that
at
to
the
these
time.
days. You couldn't get 62 tickets these days.
It was difficult, but it was great to have them there. Like, they ended up sort of having their own stand over in the corner. It was in Newcastle. And they sort of had this full little area just covered
62.
just with all of them, and they had the banners up for me and that, and it was a great moment that I got to share with my family and everyone who had been there with me throughout the whole journey and that too. And it was the same throughout my whole career. I think my mum probably missed maybe 4 games throughout my whole career. She even used to come up to Townsville and stuff like that. She used me as the excuse. She was going up there for a holiday, and it's I'm going to watch my son. Having
a tan by the pool.
Exactly.
Missed your game. My mum actually, I said, look, my debut was in Manly, and I said to the family, look, I don't want anyone there. I need to do this myself or whatever, and just because I was so focused on it, and I didn't want to have any distractions of what was going on. I just wanted to focus on the game. And so my mum snuck down and went down and watched it and didn't tell me till 4 weeks after. And I was like, are you serious? You were there the whole time and didn't tell me. Mother's love. Love. So do you have any memories of, being on the field in your debut? Looking up and seeing it and being like, wow, I'm on what I used to watch as a kid, sit there and look at these stars and go, look at that life. But you were in that life kind of thing.
It was like, it was really surreal, as if you're putting the virtual reality helmets on, and it's like, you're standing there waiting for a run, and I think Croc was playing hooker at the time. You got Michael Crocker there, Origin superstar, about to pass me the ball, and I looked to my left. I got Brad Fittler telling me to find my front to get to here, and it's like, this is actually happening. And it's weird. You get it, and it's you look up in front of you, and you got the Knights were really good around that era too. So they had the Johnses there, and I think it was just Joey there at the time, but their whole squad, had grand final experience, representative experience and stuff like that. So to be running into them, it's like, oh shit, they're tackling me. And
it's weird. Is like when you're in it, you're like, part of you is like, this is crazy. Another part is like, this is so normal. It's just a game of footy, and there's just a guy next to me. Like in reserve grade, it's just like this in reserve grade, except that's Brad Fittler or that's Darren Lockyer there. And it's like eerily maybe quiet, and you can hear everything, and you expect it to be loud and it's weird. It's weird.
Because you watch the games and you think, oh, there's 30,000 people there. How do you even hear anything? But all you can hear is them barking at you left, right, and centre. And it's like, oh, this is unreal.
You can hear the impact, and you can feel the players, and they're just there, and it's weird. It's a weird experience. Like I always think it's like not a double-edged sword, but a weird paradox of like, the more humble you are, the bigger deal you make out of things like that, and the prouder you are of those moments, and yet the more arrogant you are, the less proud you'd be because you just expect it, kind of thing. Anyway, so
that's so true.
You go to Manly, and this is 2005. Did you
2006?
Say 2006. So Manly, Broncos win 2006. They beat the Storm, I think, in the finals, and then 2007. Who won 2007? Storm. And then 2008, Manly started hitting. You guys started really hitting.
But Storm beat us in the grand final in 07.
Okay, so 07's when
they were over the cap.
Yes, Melbourne. That's two premierships for the gorgeous Georgie Rose. So 2007 is when Manly really started their era of dominance between maybe 7 and to 12, maybe.
13. We made the grand final in 13.
13. Okay, so 13, and then 14 was a or 15 was a disappointing year. But that was, you became like, so it was like the Broncos and Storm, and then you guys emerged, and then it was like you and Storm, and then you built that rivalry with each other. But so what was that like? You went to Manly and you became a starting prop, and you would have been getting more attention from media, this character, people love you. What was that like for you?
It was cool. Like, I made the decision based on being guaranteed that I was going to play regular footy, and to get over there, the lifestyle was great, the players were cool, and the coach was great as well. I got along really well with Des. Des was the coach. For most of that period, and he was one of the most interesting people I've met. He was great. He was a really good coach, and Tooz was on the staff that whole time as well too. He was an assistant
funny
coach.
Stories of Des?
Man, there's plenty. Like he had this one pair of shoes. I don't know. I think he's had them for 20 years. They were his black shoes, his good shoes, and they went missing. Oh well, one of them went missing at one stage, and he was losing it. I think he knew who it was, but he had no evidence. He had no proof. He couldn't get it back. He was just waiting for the opportunity. I don't know if he ever got the boys back for it, but he's an intense character.
Can you reveal the culprit?
I don't think I should. I don't think I know he knows who it was. And,
so it was a genuine issue.
Yeah, it was a genuine issue. Yeah. I remember. The thing with him was, like, I remember we'd be in video sessions, and he'd go from swearing and spraying someone to the next minute he'll tell a joke out of the blue, and you're like, shit, Des just told a joke. And it was funny. He was a funny man. But the same thing would happen. He'd be very calm as well, and he'd be talking to you very calmly. It's like, on the weekend we want to do this, and and then he'd just unleash. He was a real dramatic person. The way that he delivered everything. But I just think it all just added to his character and the type of person he was. But as I said, I liked the way that he wanted to play footy, and he liked the way that I did play footy. So it was a great job.
The Shoe Bandit. We have to launch an investigation into the Shoe Bandit. People, Facebook users watching this, if they launch an investigation into who the Shoe Bandit is, we need to find this out. Oh man, front page of the paper. Who is the Shoe Bandit? And it's just got a Manly jersey with a blurred out.
Do you know
face.
what? There's another thing. I don't know whether I should release it. There's a song that he absolutely hates.
Oh really?
And it managed to become his ringtone for a while. He didn't know how to change it, but someone set it as his ringtone for ages, and it was hilarious because this song would just send him off. He'd lose his shit. He absolutely hated it.
Was it the same as the Shoe Bandit?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that person was.
Oh,
yeah, but
you never that's never dog the boys. You're staying rock solid, bro.
I can't. Yeah. Well, they've probably got a lot of dirt on me too. So,
man, that's awesome. Change the ringtone. What? He just fly off the handle.
He'd lose it. Where's that? Where's that bloody song? And he'd just go nuts. He absolutely hated this song and this person that sung it. So I won't say who it was because it could end up being played over ANZ Stadium or at Allianz this weekend. So I don't want to do that to him. Des is a good bloke.
With it when it went off, were all the boys up?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, good times. I miss the boys. I miss all the banter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you guys play 2007 grand final, and you lose to the Storm. What was that? Was it heartbreaking for you guys? Was that a tough loss for you?
Yeah, it was. It was our first time getting to that situation.
Yeah.
So it was a great learning experience, I reckon. The year after, you come out with no pressure on you.
Yeah,
but you've had that experience of what it takes to be there, and I think that's where a lot of the guys grew as players. Guys like Glenn Stewart went from being a young back row with a full head of hair to to a seasoned veteran.
He lost that meeting in that grand final.
Yeah. Well, he did. Well, he might have, but he also gained a lot of ability and experience from it, and he became such a great leader for that club. Guy. Well, you look at the whole team. The whole team was great. When I go around to schools and stuff now, they say, "Who's the best player you played with?" And I'll sit there and I'll go, "Well, Jamie Lyon was great," and then then you got Steve Maddai was a player I loved to play with. Glenn Stewart, Brett Stewart used to do this and that, and you could sit here and rattle off the whole squad. Anthony Watmore, I wouldn't have had half the career I did if it wasn't for him. Yelling at me in the game and doing everything that he done. Making them tackles in the middle, and
he was
I always paid him back with a quick play of the ball. Though I know he loved that. He'd jump on the back of that every time.
Yeah, so he's good attacking was all you. He's all you.
Yeah,
all your play the balls.
Yeah, but then every tackle he made was also meant to be all me as well. So he saved me with a lot of them tackles.
And you were at Steve Menzies then too.
Steve Menzies, yeah.
So you got Menzies, Maddai, Lyon, Stewart.
Orford was there at that time.
Orford.
As well,
Was Cherry Evans coming through then?
Cherry was still a young fella.
2009 and 10 was more.
Hogco came through next, and then Cherry came through after Hogco.
Yeah, so your side, you just look at it. And you had Ballon then as well.
Matty Ballon, he was a great player for so long.
Yeah.
Did
you play Queensland that year?
The worst thing for a lot of them good hookers like him and McCulloch was they were behind Smith for so many years.
Smith, I say it. I think honestly, genuinely think he's the greatest hooker to ever play the game.
Yeah,
he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So the next year rolls around, and what was it like? A lot of players don't experience this, let alone people. But what was it like being seen as this character? You were seen as a guy that had its larger than life kind of presence. You weren't just like another NRL player. You were Gorgeous George, Big Georgie Rose. Was that? Did you embrace it, or was it frustrating at times? Where you're like, hey man, I'm also decent at footy, kind of thing, or you know what I mean?
Do you know what I at first, it's sort of weird. The attention is very confronting.
Yeah.
But the more I spoke to people about it, the more I just learned to embrace it,
and appreciate it, kind of thing.
And it probably led to my longevity as a player too. The personal aspect that I brought to a team and to a squad sort of kept me playing on longer, I'd imagine. So
increased your value as a member of the squad.
Yeah. There's more to me than just the pretty face and the dazzling skills. I had a bit more to offer. So I did. I enjoyed it. I learned to enjoy it, and I embraced it more because. I think in hindsight, I wish I'd even done it even more. I think there's a lot that you can
Imagine
do.
Now with social media.
I know. Imagine. I think back then it was Bebo. I was on Bebo back in
really
them days.
Bebo. I was on MySpace, man.
Yeah, I had MySpace too.
Bebo was
whatever happened to him.
MySpace got taken over by Facebook.
Yeah.
What was your page song? You had a page song.
Yeah. No, I used to update it every week. That's how much I was on there. I was loving it.
Oh, really?
I used to love it.
I would love to find.
And you'd have your top 10 friends and that sort of stuff.
Top 10 friends, and you could choose
whatever
who they were.
girl you liked that week. Pushing her up.
You got to start in the top 10. And it's a compliment to her.
And then you click on her page, and she's got you at 9, so you had to move her down.
That would never happen to Gorgeous George. You would always be rated higher.
Not now.
So I would love to. I would love to see that profile of you from that. How funny would that be if we could find that profile somehow and just show the profile.
If it's, it should still be there because I never deleted it. So unless Bebo's dead and gone, it's.
I wonder if it is.
Yeah, or MySpace even. Unless they're dead and gone, I've still got profiles there.
I'd love to see. That'd be fucking hilarious. That'd be hilarious. Okay,
memories.
So the next year, 2008. You just go on and win it, and you win it comfortably. We lost to the Storm in the semis that we should have won. Dropped ball in the last 2 minutes. They ended up scoring because someone dropped the ball. Then the Sharks beat the Storm, I think, and then the Storm. Yeah, the Sharks beat the Storm, and then you play the Sharks. No, it wasn't the Sharks. Who beat the Storm? Who'd you play in the finals that year? Warriors?
Nah, I don't think it was Warriors that year.
Storm? You touched them up like 40 to whatever.
Oh, in the grand final?
Yeah.
Oh, we beat Storm 40-0.
Yeah.
40-0. Come on, man. Ask any Manly fan or anyone that, 40. What does 40-0 mean?
Yep.
They'll know. Yeah.
Okay, so because that should have been us. It should have been the Broncos, and that would have been a hell of a finals because we had Lockyer, Hodges.
60-0
to us. We had such a good side.
Yeah.
Such a good side. This was our back line. Carmichael Hunt, Justin Hodges, Darius Boyd, myself. Obviously, I've got to be mentioning those names. We had Shane Petro Sivanasiva, Brad Thorne, David Stagg, like Darren Lockyer, Peter Wallace, Michael Ennis. It's a fucking good side. We would have touched his up.
That is crazy.
So anyway,
So you didn't have salary caps up there, right? I mean, the Storm got hammered for what happened to them.
Please. I was earning $1 a game, so I obviously wasn't taking the
cap. But you also had a house and a car and a boat.
Oh, please, mate. We were committed to Broncos as it. We loved the team, mate. Playing for free. That's what we would do at the Broncos.
Yeah. Let's see what happens when the camera turns off. Let's ask you that question again.
So that 2008 finals against the Storm, what was the week like leading up to it? Were you just like so pumped to get that win back? What was it like for you?
No, well, I think you learn, because it's such a hyped up week. You do so many things that you would never do leading up to a game that week. The media commitments, the big events that you have to attend, just even all the people around you in your inner circle, or the people that are suddenly around you for that week, and the calls and everything that comes with it. And one thing I think that we learned to do over time was embrace it, enjoy it. And then when you get to footy's on, when you're at training, you're training hard, you're footy focused there, but embrace everything else that comes with it, because as you see, like a lot of guys have gone through their careers and not experienced playing in a grand final, let alone winning one. So I think learning from everything that happened the year before, it made everyone a lot more mature, and knowing what to expect. I think everyone was sort of a lot more prepared, and then to come out, to win 40-0 in a grand final against a side like that is pretty phenomenal.
Imagine Bellamy's blow up at half time. It would have been, mate. They probably didn't have an off season. They probably got tailed up the whole off season and just trained into the next year.
I could only imagine how bad it would have been. Like he's,
notoriously
he's got
angry.
a good blow up.
Okay, so you're on the field. When was the moment you knew you'd won it on the field?
Look, I don't really remember, to be honest.
Really? Just a blur.
I think Michael Robertson scored 3 tries that game.
Yep.
It's just weird the way that the game went. Like everything just worked. You know yourself. Like when you're at training and you go through your plays that you plan, everything that you plan to do, and that training you get it right, and it's silky and it's great. You're like you're clapping and we're on and that, and then you come out on the field and defences are really good, so they don't always come off, but it was just everything was just sort of working. The plans were going great, and the squad, like as I said, the squad that we had was so much more mature and had learned a lot from the previous seasons, and still had that competitive desire. I think one thing about that squad that was so great for so long was everyone was so competitive. Even at training, like you don't want to get beat by someone at anything, whether it's cards or anything.
There's been some blow-ups over
there's
cards.
been some blow-ups over cards over the years. But that competitive nature is what drove that squad to be so great for so long.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think of the people you had, and you did genuinely have a lot of competitors, like some aggressive competitors that just... there's some teams that just have, like you look at the Broncos, for example, they just had they're just so skillful. Especially in 2006, they just had skill across the board. Don't get me wrong, Manly had heaps of skill, but you just had a 4-pack that were a bunch of mongrels and just loved to compete. And then also you get your Mad Eyes that are literally going out trying to kill someone.
Mad Eye, Well, he was. I reckon he'd be the guy who'd be voted the guy that you'd want to have on your
player
team
pretty much.
every time. Yeah, player's player.
Yeah.
Because he would put his body on the line every time. Like, he would smash blokes, guys that were twice the size of him that he shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
And he'd get in and take them carries, and he'd just charge at people. Like, no fear. He'd put his body on the line for his teammate every week. Having guys like that in the forwards. Guys like Jason King. Jason King was one of the toughest competitors I've ever known, ever come across. At training, he was the guy that you didn't want to get paired up with in anything. He was the guy that you didn't want to have to do stuff with, because that he's gonna be going 100%. He's gonna jam you if you're anything less than perfect. He's gonna absolutely give it to you. But his attitude and the way that he trained, he took it out on the field too. Every carry that he made, he took it at 100%. Every tackle, he was going there to tackle you as hard as he possibly could at that moment. And like guys like him, guys like Brent Kite, he was in the front row as well. So you got them two. You got Matt Ballin there. You've got Anthony Watmo, Glenn Stewart.
That's a fucking good forward.
Luke Williamson was there at that time.
That's a good forward.
Like there's guys there that are great players that as I say, when you got to rattle off some of the best players you've got to play with, to say that I got to play alongside Jason King and Brent Kite for all those years. Josh Perry was there as well during the period. He's another representative front rower. So so many great players have come through there, as with the Broncos. Only difference is that we were under the cap, that we lived by the rules,
mate. We had
Broncos were under that.
We had blokes taking,
please,
mate, we had blokes taking pay cuts for years, mate.
Yes, yeah.
Dedicated to us as a team and Broncos as a bigger.
And they now own Caxton Street. I don't know how.
What a G up, mate. Mate, there's something called loyalty.
Yeah,
that's what the Broncos have.
Yeah. Loyalty
to the Broncos.
We had that as well, but you also had a lot of brown paper bags. There was a lot of them.
Never seen one in my life, mate. Yeah. Never seen one in my life.
No, you just walked in the new house. And that was it.
Like, I wish I did see some. I wish I did see some. Wouldn't be fucking. I'd have a fucking house right now. Okay, so you win the grand final, 40-0. What is that next week like? Do you have any memories? Obviously, you probably don't remember it, but it's one thing to win a grand final. It's another thing to go out and touch a team up 40-0. Such an emphatic victory. What was it like?
Look, it's. I think just winning a grand final in general is the peak of everything. Like you train from late October through to late September every year. You get your 6 weeks off or whatever. But that whole time you're training as a squad with one goal is to win a grand final. Yeah. So to finally reach that, that's something that I'd trained for since coming to Sydney. You train for that moment to be the best team in the comp. You're there as a squad to win the grand final, and to finally reach that is like. I don't know how to explain it. It's something that you share as a group too. It's not an individual achievement. Yep. It's something that the guys that you trained alongside for all them years, everyone's winning it together. Like it's a blur. There was a lot of great celebrations. And then what carries on off the back of that is the next month. Everywhere you go, it's like cousins, friends, old friends. People that you weren't even friends with, but who watch the grand final, they want to celebrate with you, and everybody wants to celebrate. So it's like a month of unavoidable celebration, and then you got to get back to reality. You got to turn back up the training, and it's like,
what was that like? Was that tough coming back to training after the grand final win?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially that period was when. Like as I said, all them guys matured as players. They then became rep players, so they were all kangaroos in that for that on the back of that, and then so you come back to training and then half the squad sort of isn't there because they're all on rep duties, and so it was sort of different then at the start.
Did it feel a bit deflating, like the boys aren't here and it's not the same?
Not really. Well, as you know, like it's a 30-man squad. And then you've got young guys who come in and that too. But, everybody else is still there. There might have been 10 guys missing, but there's still 20 other guys that are still there who you're still good mates with, very close with. And it is tougher at times when you're getting flogged. And some of them senior voices aren't around to
Yeah,
go,
push it
hey, how about you back off a little bit here? We've had enough.
Oh, yeah,
especially
okay.
in pre-season.
Negotiators.
You got Donny Sims there just going nuts, and without Jamie Lyon there to say, hey, back off. The boys have.
You got
boys
no
have done
negotiators,
enough.
bro.
You got no one there.
Oh,
There's no carrots at the end of the.
Oh yeah, I can feel your pain 100%. And so to 2009. 2011 you played another grand final, didn't you?
2011 we beat the Warriors.
Yep.
2009 we I think we finished 5th.
Yep.
We went down to Melbourne, lost that game, and then got knocked out because first and second lost. I think it was the Dragons and Titans.
Yeah, okay.
Lost in week 1, and so we were gone.
Gonskis.
Yeah.
2010.
2010. It was a bit of a uneventful year as well.
Yeah, lull, just like a lull kind of thing. But 2011, so...
But we were still in the 8, we were still...
You're still dominant in that period, like a very tough side.
You know what, 2010, I think we went into the finals with a lot of injuries.
Okay.
We sort of limped in, and
Yep.
you need a healthy squad
100%.
to
Especially
be competitive.
and playing together for a while.
Yeah.
2011, you go in, you beat the Doggies, you said?
Yeah.
The Warriors.
We beat the Warriors in the grand final. The week before, the Warriors were playing the Storm.
Yeah.
And that's that whole period where we had the big clashes with the Storm.
Yep.
And it was sort of heading that way. We were going to play Storm again in the grand final. And when the Warriors beat them, it was sort of like there was this huge relief because we'd been so successful against the Warriors.
Yeah, confidence
up to date. The confidence level was a little bit up, and I was like, wow, we're a really good chance of winning this grand final. Like, I knew if it was a Storm, it was like we're a good chance, but it's going to be a really tough battle. And I thought we can, that's the moment that was sort of like we can win this game. We still had to perform, we still had to turn up. Like, as you know, Warriors, one of the most unpredictable teams in history.
Could beat anyone.
Exactly. Beat anyone on their day
by friggin' 30 if they wanted to.
And that's what happened. That's how they knocked off the Storm the week before. The Storm were probably the better side in the comp that year, but
Warriors turned up.
They turned up and they gave it to them.
Yep.
And then so we played that game against the Warriors, and we got through. We didn't win as well as the last grand final that we won, but
it was a dominant performance.
It was a pretty good performance from us, but you against the Warriors, you don't know that you got the game won until there's less than 2 minutes left, and you're more than 2 tries out of range because they can score tries that quick, and so we got the.
Was that sweeter than the first one? Do you think? Or it was.
I think just winning a grand final is always great. It's as I said, it's the peak that you're aiming for as a team.
Yeah.
And to get there with the boys, like there was new faces in the team that year, and so it was the first time.
Was that with Tuvi as well?
No, that was Des. Des left. Des left after that
next year.
And then Tuvs took over in 2012.
And so. What was the celebration? Any stories from celebrations? Where did you go? Did you go away? I'm sure there's stories, don't get me wrong.
Well, the great thing about Manly, I think they do Mad Monday better than... Well, they always did Mad Monday better than anyone else. It was locked down privately in a great location in Manly. And it was just the boys, private, no phones. The good thing there too... a couple of the older boys enforced a no phone policy, which I think is great, especially considering, the last week, a lot of my mates on Snapchat, I've seen everything that's gone through their Mad Monday. It's like I've been on the Mad Monday with them. So
crazy.
I think it's a great policy to have for Mad Monday because it's the time when everyone lets their hair down, they dress up silly, they drink more than they ever would as a normal person, and celebrate with the boys. So it's a great time for no phones, lock it down, and just celebrate each other's company.
Mate, it just kills me to see the media trying to find something. Like they're trying, and it's just like a staff Christmas party. Like that's literally the same thing, except it's you're celebrating the year just like you would at a staff Christmas party. How would you like it if we had phones at your staff Christmas party and filmed you and released shit about it? I bet you we could find way worse shit at your staff Christmas party. And yet, like, there's a guy that got in trouble for dressing up as a friggin' criminal. Like, Like, come on. Like,
when people are fishing for something, they'll find something, won't
definitely.
they? Yeah, there's always something that they're going to find. But that's what I reckon. Like, there's 99.5% of what happens with rugby league is great. It's a great game. Players who play it are great people who do a lot of good things in the community. You know, they're just good people, and none of that gets sort of reported on. And then that one little incident that will happen,
gets smashed.
It just gets smashed for weeks.
And it's just like, the thing is, I was speaking to one of the boys yesterday, and it's like most of the boys are decent blokes because they have to be, because you're in a team environment. If you're a wanker and you do all this, you just get brushed.
Yeah.
Like, clubs will get rid of you because they just can't like, unless you are literally so good that they have to cop. But there's not really anyone that is that good.
No.
There really isn't.
Anyone who is that good, they're a good person.
Yeah, because they know how to work with people and get to where they are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it sucks, man. Like, don't get me wrong, footy players aren't angels, but it's just frustrating to see this whole just angle constantly trying to find something, anything, please. It's like they're sitting there going, please do something wrong this week. And then you'll see in the media, like, there'll be this tiny story, cricket player arrested for fighting or whatever, and it's just like little story in the corner, and you're like, if that was a footy player, that would be front page psycho everywhere. Because it's a cricket, it's all right. But anyway, whatever. It's a small thing to complain about in the scheme of things. So, you know, you also played for the Indigenous side against the Māori side.
Yep.
Did you play All Stars as well, Indigenous All Star game?
Yep.
And so, what was that like for you? You know, you've achieved everything. You know, grand final, played NRL, did all these dreams that you never thought you'd kind of do. But then also to be able to put on an Indigenous jersey in something that you love. So you're kind of combining two things that mean so much to you. Obviously, Indigenous is more, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like the perfect mix. You finally get to represent your people and culture strongly. What was that like for you?
Look, it's something that's sort of been a conversation. You know, in Aboriginal communities for a long time. How good would it be to just see all of the Aboriginal players in the comp just play on the one side, you know? Yeah. Because there's for so long there's obviously been some great and exciting players who have come through the game. And I remember my grandfather saying, I remember my father saying, having these conversations about you know, how cool would it be to have that team? Yeah. And then for me to be part of the first time that it happened, you know, it was unreal. Like, I still get goosebumps.
You won player of the match?
Yeah, the last one. Yeah, 2015, the last year that I played. It was an absolute honour, you know, like, because you're playing in a game with the best players in the world that are on the paddock. I remember coming into the game in 2015, coming into that one, they kept talking about how crap our front row was, and how we were coming up against, you know, Jesse Bromwich, James Graham, the Burgess boys, Jared Hargraves, you know, guys who I was looking at it myself and like, this is ridiculous. You know, that's 4 teams of great front rowers there. You know, it's you know, and it was one of the things where we were just getting smashed in the press leading up to it, and I thought, you know, like, it is what it is. All we can do is go out and do what we do, and I managed to go out and have a really good game, and to win that at the end of it, I didn't believe it, because Josh Perry came up to me after the game. He goes, "I'll stand here next to me because you've got to go up for the Man of the Match award." I said, "Oh, you know, fuck off, Teddy. What are you talking about? JT's over there, you know." Yeah. And I sort of walked off on him, and then they called me out. He's like, "No, come here, you got to go up." And they called my name. I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. And I went up onto the stage, and I was, you know, I couldn't believe it. You know, I'd won Man of the Match in a game that meant so much to me. Yep. And it was a Preston Campbell medal, and he's someone that I've respected so much as a person for so long. And in that game, there was a group of kids from Walgett who'd come down. They were part of an attendance program that I run at the primary school, and they'd had 100% attendance for the previous year. And
wow!
Part of their award was to come to the Gold Coast and get to come to the All Stars game.
Man. That's awesome.
And so I saw them sitting up at the end of it, because they had these red Walgett shirts on, and so I knew where they were all sitting. And you know, I gave them a little shout out while I was up on the stage. I thought, you know, how cool is that? These kids have come all the way from Walgett. Some of them haven't been to the beach, haven't been to a city. city, and definitely haven't been into a stadium like that there to watch rugby league. And so for them to be able to experience it and acknowledge them up in the crowd, and it was a great moment. It was definitely one of my favourite moments from my career.
And what a perfect example of what the game's all about. You know, they had 100% attendance rate because of the reward that they got at the end of it. Like, it all worked perfectly to help the community in a positive way and give these kids an experience they never would have experienced, but it also improved their life day to day before the whole thing even happened. And then you got up there, you could shout them out, something they'll remember forever. And it's just like, I mean, it could not have worked more perfectly. You know, they'll always associate, you know, doing the right thing with positive things now, kind of thing. Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. And, to be able to say man of the match as well. I mean, and that's what, your second last year. Well,
that was my last year. I retired that year.
So I mean, that's probably why you retired.
I'm done. Well, you know, it was another thing. It's ticked off. Like, how good's that?
100%, bro. 100%. And so, what's, you know, going forward, looking into the future? What's your plan over the next few years? What do you want to do? You know, obviously you're doing work with kids and stuff like that. But
I'm back at uni. I'm at Sydney Uni. I'm doing a commerce course there. I'd love to be able to get my master's in commerce from there.
Wow.
It's something that I have been enjoying doing on the side. I'm working with the NRL. I'd love to keep working with the NRL, something that I do enjoy doing. Obviously, they don't really match up too well, you know, the finance and accounting side of things versus the community work. So trying to find a blend of that, you know, is what I hope to be able to do long term.
Maybe even like, you know, maybe helping young Indigenous and disadvantaged kids with finance and how to just small things like that, like just, you know, because even normal kids don't get taught how to take care of their money. You know? So that could be something.
Well, there's a lot of ideas that I'm always throwing around, like long term. You know, I'd love to be able to fix employment issues in remote communities, because there just isn't jobs out there.
Oh, mate,
to be able to create employment opportunities in remote communities would be great. I'd love doing that. And it's something that I'd use what I learned from uni to be able to do. With the NRL, I love rugby league. I've watched rugby league since I was a kid. Always been around it. So to be working there and to be able to, I'd love to be able to make a difference or help the game be great in some way, to contribute to it, because, you know, obviously it gave so much to me. It made me the person that I am today. And, you know, if I can give something back to it in some way or contribute more, it's what I'd love to do.
And ask all the boys, his favourite rapper of all time.
Favourite rapper of all time? I think I can't go past Tupac, you know, like...
Tupac?
Yeah, I'm
just the message that he sent.
No matter what playlist I always make, I always sneak in a Tupac song all the time. And that's what I loved about when I was in Melbourne. Every Tuesday was Tupac Tuesdays.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, Paul Devlin, he that was his rule, Tupac Tuesdays. So in the gym, it's Tupac all day on a Tuesday.
Wow.
He's head trainer at Para now, but he's a great bloke. Tupac. Love him.
All right. Favourite movie of all time?
All time?
Yep.
Oh, jeez. That's hard to narrow it down to one, isn't it?
Well, just first thing that pops head, boom.
Well, Friday was the first thing.
Oh, really? Friday? Next Friday?
Yeah, I watched it that many times.
Oh, so good, so funny.
Yeah, Lion King's another one.
Oh, classic.
I watched it a lot as
Definitely.
I still tear up a little bit when I watch it now.
Oh, you have to. You have to. You're not human. That should be the human test. If you don't tear up in that bit, you're a sociopath.
Yes.
That should be it.
Yes.
And you get locked away so you don't murder anyone. Because you're clearly a serial killer. And if you can't fucking watch Simba's dad die.
Yeah.
If you could have a billboard anywhere saying anything, what would it be? And where would it be as well?
You know what? I'd probably put it, you know, the Eastern Distributor, where you're coming from the airport into the city, like that's a shitty road. It's always shitty traffic. I'd have a massive one there of just my head just saying, "Stay gorgeous."
Stay gorgeous. That'd be good. Hey, just sitting like a throne or something like that.
Yeah.
Just smiling. No, that'd be awesome, bro. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Bro, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it, man.
No, my pleasure. I'm glad I finally made it here.
Yeah, bro.
I've been watching everything you've been doing. I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
If you love a punt and you're looking for some of the best deals in Australia that you can't find anywhere else, inbox me for details or hit that link in the comments section. The Locker Room is proudly brought to you by William Hill.